His Excellency, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo will join us in a few minutes. He went to Ife to join the Oni to celebrate his 10th year anniversary on the throne. We spoke at 1 p.m. He's 10 minutes away and he will join us. His staff has already joined and his chair is already prepared. While waiting for His Excellency, let me introduce our two panelists, starting with Professor Kingsley Moghalu, who some years ago put himself in the race to become the country's president. If there is time, we will ask him about that. In needs no introduction, very famous name, is a distinguished global thought leader and public intellectual, the president of the Institute for Governance and Economic Transformation, a public policy think tank and executive education academy, and CEO of Sogato Strategies, a business intelligence and geopolitical risk advisory firm in Washington, D.C. He has had a prior illustrious career as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, served as Professor of International Business and Public Policy at Tufts University Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in Boston, and Oxford Martin Visiting Fellow at the University of Oxford. He was the inaugural President and Vice Chancellor of the African School of Governance in Kigali, Rwanda. Had the opportunity of serving temporarily as one of their consultant and recruiter. He previously worked in the United Nations system for 17 years in strategic planning, legal and external affairs, roles at duty stations at the UN Secretariat in New York and field operations in Cambodia, Croatia, Tanzania, and in Geneva. And he became the highest bracket of director. His PhD is in international relations from the London School of Economics and the law degree from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He's written many books, including Imagine Africa, How the Global Economy's Last Frontier Can Prosper and Matter. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Kingsley. We are very, very grateful. Before I introduce Professor Kukah, please admit those in the waiting room. They have been cleared for security. Please admit them. Before we admit, we check people's credentials. Technical people, please screen them and let them join. Okay. Let me move to my good friend of so many years now, Bishop Kukah, the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, a very famous public intellectual, distinguished scholar, author, and is one of our most respected voices on governance, on justice, and national cohesion. His practical works, his writings, bridge faith, public life, and social responsibility, reflecting a lifelong commitment to building a just and democratic society. Bishop Kukah has written so many books on religion, politics, democracy, the relationship between politics and power, democracy and civil society in Nigeria, two of his major books, Third Witness to Justice, an insider account of Nigeria's Truth Commission, published in 2011. And in 2022, he released Nigeria's Elusive Quest for National Cohesion. And a year later, he published Witness to Reconciliation, that further solidifies his role as a leading voice in national dialogue and peace building. In his career, he has combined pastoral leadership with deep academic engagement, contributing significantly to national conversation on democracy. Welcome, Father Kukah. We are glad that the two of you are here. While waiting for, I think Dr. Moghalu's internet is creating problems. Dr. Moghalu. Your internet seems to be fluctuating. Can you say something, Dr. Moghalu?
Yes,
Dr.
hello,
Moghalu,
can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Your internet is it cooperating now?
Oh, you can hear me. My video has gone off. Just give me 5 minutes. Okay, let me see if I can come back.
What's going on?
Yeah, give me 5 minutes. Let me just change my location to a better place. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Members of our audience, you are very many. You have to forgive us for these technical issues. We're in 4 different locations. We have many distinguished people who have joined us. You can see Professor Esson, distinguished political scientist, Professor Richard Joseph, Prince Agbetuyi, the philosopher Sogolo. Baba, welcome. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, but when the king calls and your in-law calls, you have to make a choice whether you answer your in-law or you answer the king. If you do not answer the king, you may be beheaded. If you do not answer your in-law, you may lose your wife. And Oni called me, and you called me. So I made the choice.
So that you don't get beheaded.
So that I don't get.
Welcome. Well, you are very strong. 2 weeks ago, we were in Atlanta together, catching a flight to Lagos. And we both rushed to the Mabogunje event where
you won't believe, since then I've gone to China. From China, I went to Washington to observe the signing of agreement between Rwanda and DRC.
So the first question, your true age is what now? 90, 92?
My true age.
You want us to leave
I think, let me put it this way.
Should we leave it to God?
Olubara, who was my classmate, he is 92, he will be 93 in May. And when I talk about my age, he will say, Shegun, where do you get this your age from? I said, look, don't bother me. My mother said I was born on Ifo Market Day. So Ifo Market Day it is. Don't query me on because I have it for market day as my birthday. So if, and then Olubara will say, when we were in school, could I have been more than 1 year older than you? I said, look, that's your own problem. Still leave me alone. So, but let's leave it as it is. If a market day was by the date of my birth.
that is nice. Well, the former president, his official age was born March 5, 1937. Now, Kukah, and the former Nigerian head of state, two-term civilian president. He began his career as a teacher before joining the Nigerian Army in 1958, receiving military training in England and India. Rising quickly through the ranks, he played a decisive role in ending the Nigerian Civil War as commander of the 3rd Marine Commando Division. He served as Federal Commissioner for Works and Housing, became Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters under General Murtala Muhammad, and following Muhammad's assassination in 1976, he assumed office as head of state. He made history in 1979 as the first African military leader to voluntarily hand over power to an elected civilian government, thus enhancing his reputation as a champion of democracy. After being imprisoned during the Abacha regime for speaking against human rights abuses, he re-emerged to win the 1999 presidential election. He served between 1999 and 2007. He pursued economic reform, secured major foreign debt relief, strengthened education through TED Fund, supported telecommunications liberalization, and promoted peace in Africa. Administration is recognized for substantial growth in foreign reserves and expansion of democratic governance. He's a member of Club de Madrid, an independent non-profit organization created to promote democracy and change in the international community. He's fondly blessed with many children who are great achievers in different spheres of life. Among them, Dario Obasanjo, a principal program manager for Microsoft, and Senator Yabo Obasanjo Bello, a one-time commissioner for health in Ogun State. That is a short introduction for those who are joining us. I told your staff, people have joined us from 32 countries. We use Zoom to stream to those countries. And people have joined from Facebook, from Telegram, live radio, television, and various places. I've previously introduced Bishop Kukah and Dr. Kingsley. Bishop Kukah, I'm giving you 2 questions to start with. Please, Bishop Kukah, ask your question.
Well, welcome, Mr. President. It's good to see you. I still don't know, and I don't think, except God, nobody can say how you manage not only to stay so strong, but incredibly visible and active. I can only ask the Lord to continue to bless you and keep you for us. So welcome to this conversation, and thank you, Toyin, for making this happen and for your relentless effort in keeping Africa alive and keeping intellectual activities and commentators and commentaries alive, and also bringing in people of incredible reputation. So I thank and commend you for the great work that you do. So I've gone through your, let me start with the Obasanjo Presidential Library, which I had the honor and the privilege of visiting. And I consider it a phenomenal a phenomenal structure, not just physical, but an institution, the life
in terms of content. In terms of content.
Yes, an institution, the like of which I don't know if it exists anywhere. You are by far, in my view, the most documented person alive, because I don't know anyone whose life has been so well captured and well documented almost from the beginning. So, but I really want, my interest is, first of all, from where you are, from what you see the Obasanjo Presidential Library doing, what kind of legacy do you foresee, after you have gone? And what really do you think that needs to be done? One, to make this center much more visible and also accessible to millions of people around the world.
Thank you very much, Bishop Kukah. Bishop Kukah, I will say what I have always said about you. From the first time that our path crossed, I have seen you as a man of God, and I've always believed that even though you are a man of God, God so loved me that by the grace of God, I will get to the kingdom of heaven before you. And you say, because I will die before you, well, because I'm older than you, the prayer normally in our part of the world is that the older should die before the younger. But not only that, and because I believe God loves me, that's why I will get there before you. But on a very serious note, thank you very much, Professor Falola. You have done a lot to document, to get people to say things that they should say, and I thank you for this opportunity. Earlier on you said, what is my true age? The truth is that I don't know my exact age, but I could judge from those who were in school with me. I've given you the example of Olubara, who is still alive. I believe, including Olubara, there are 6 of my classmates in the secondary school that I know are still alive, and none of them is less than 90 years of age. None of them. So I leave it to you to guess what my age could be. But let me come to the question of Bishop Kukah. Bishop Kukah, I want to particularly thank you, because when you went through the Presidential Library, which is the only kind of itself in Africa, you made substantive and very important observation and suggestions, some of which have come in your question now. Let me say that some of the documents that you find in my presidential library are just fortuitously there. For instance, my school record card in primary school, people look at it and say, do you know you will be president? I just happen to have been able to keep them. And then, of course, when I became president and I wanted to establish a presidential library, they were available to be exhibited. My school record in primary school, in secondary school, and so on. And then, of course, even manuscript of books that I've written, those that I wrote in the prison, and that sort of thing. Even crops of maize that I planted when I was in prison, they are there, and somehow I was able to keep these. So why the Presidential Library? I think that is the first question. I believe that one of the things that we don't do too well in our society is we don't keep record too well. Institutional memory is not what we do very well, and so I thought when I was military head of state, I did not keep as much record as I believe I should have kept. After the Civil War, we collected files and records on the Biafra side, and I kept them because there was nowhere else to keep them. And unfortunately, the roof of my house was blown up by a storm on one location, and some of those files got wet, and we were just able to save the documents. And then I microfilmed the documents. That was the first thing I did. But when I became military head of state, I didn't think of keeping record or making copies of records of correspondence and items that I should have done. And after I left, I said to myself, oh, this was a very bad omission. So if there was any other opportunity where I should keep things, I would. And then the opportunity came after I've been to prison. I kept as much record of what I did in prison, including my prison uniform. And then I then said, look, now that I had opportunity as elected president, I will not make the mistake that I made in the past. So those records were all very scrupulously kept and maintained. Then I said, well, look, here it is. We have these items. How do we handle them? And the man I talked to was the president of one of the presidents of America, President
Clinton.
President Clinton, thank you. President Clinton. And President Clinton then said, oh, look, I will introduce you to the consultant for my presidential library, Applebaum and Associate. So we then had them, they charged us for what the consultancy would be, and they did a good job. And then we had the layout, the equipment, and everything. One, to have institutional memory. As as I said, to have record, as I said, of things. So where are we now? Those records we have digitalized over 3 million materials. We still have about the same number, 3 million, to digitalize. The idea is that when these materials are digitalized, people can have access to them. That's number one. So as a document, as preservation, as we say, we preserve the past, we take note of the present, and we want all this to inspire the future. That is there. Now, so the Presidential Library is divided into a number of sections. The museum section is where you go and see exhibition of what I have said, the manuscript, my card in primary school, my school card in primary school, in secondary school, letters people have written to me that are important, letter that I wrote to Abacha when his son died in an accident and I was in prison. Letter I wrote to his own wife when he died while I was still in prison. And some of the materials that I actually have in prison. So there's the exhibition, if you like, part of the library. Then there is the archive, like I said, documents, over 6 million documents that are being digitalized and will be available for people. Then there are two institutions that we are part and parcel of the library. One is a UNESCO institution, and we work with UNESCO on culture and international understanding. There's that one. Then there's the panel that was run by Kofi Annan, which was called panel for progress panel for Africa. And before Kofi Annan died, Kofi Annan said, look, this has to go to Africa. And two of us vied for it, and it was handed to our presidential library. And we call it Africa Progress Group. That we pardon? You were saying?
No, I was just saying because we still have a few more questions. I think you've more than answered many of the questions that I wanted to ask.
So, well, yeah, what you are saying, then we have we have an OOLI, Olusegun Obasanjo Leadership Institute. Bishop Kukah, we hope to invite you one of these days to address you there. We have just had something for CEOs. Then we have principals and vice principals of schools, and it was incredible what the change is making. And I took one the other day of senior prefects, and they said they call them now head boys and head girls in schools. These are the sort of things we do. So what are we doing for making sure that this is preserved and prolonged? Now, we have a foundation, and the foundation is meant to keep it in perpetuity.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hold on, sir. I just want to make two comments on the Presidential Library. I was privileged to be invited by the company to New York to be one of the assessors when they were trying to put the architecture and design together. But your library has shaped the Thabo Mbeki Library, because I was put on the board about that library, and I still serve as the chair of the board of the school. And part of, we decided to say, who will create his own library in the university? Because the university is lodged in the university, and the university is the one funding it, which sustains it in perpetuity. In your own case, where will the money comes in future years is too big for the state government to run, and the federal government may not take it over. So how do you finance this future?
Well, when I was thinking of the library, there were two ways. One was to raise enough fund and have a trust fund that will generate money for regular maintenance. The other one is to establish what we call revenue generating units. Our library has we don't call it a hotel, but it's a hotel. We call it, excuse me, we call it
a guest house.
A guest house. That guest house is actually the major. It's a 153 bed rooms guest house. Is the one that is generating most of the money that is sustaining the library. One of the problems we have now is the problem of energy, and we are putting in a solar system. The solar system we are putting in will generate 2.1 megawatts. We won't need more than 1.4 megawatts, where we'll sell electricity to our neighbors, just as we are selling water to our neighbors. We produce water. We run almost a municipality in that sense. And we have people around us, they buy water from us.
Are you paying taxes?
No, because we are a foundation, not for profit. We don't pay tax. And we got that tax exemption because we are a not-for-profit organization. And whatever money we make, it goes back into the... what Tony is saying, that how do we sustain? Once we are able to get the solar system in, we will be comfortable, very comfortable, in sustaining our program and maintaining the library.
Okay, I think let's move on now from the library. I've got a second question, which is, and let's start off from Washington. What happened between Rwanda and Congo? I know that is an area you've been working on for quite some time. There are also the underlying concerns about mineral resources. Are we witnessing, or are we likely to witness a new, more robust, perhaps more aggressive? Are we going to see more aggressive footprints with China and the United States of America and Russia and everybody now? What are the implications of all this for the future of Africa?
Well, the conflict, if you like, or the dispute between Rwanda and DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, stemmed from the genocide that happened in Rwanda in about 31 years ago. Some of those who committed genocide went into DRC. And that's one aspect of the problem. Another aspect of the problem is that before independence, there were Rwandese who moved into DRC. So for some of them, they are third, fourth generation. But up till now, they have not been fully absorbed into DRC as citizens of DRC. So these two are critical issues of contention between DRC and Rwanda. There are a number of other internal issues within DRC itself, and those issues have been there before independence, and they were the issues that actually took the UN peacekeeping force into DRC in 1960. And I was a member of Nigerian contingent in 1960. I was in Kasongo, I was in Kindufes, Kasongo, and Bukavu. And when Ban Ki-moon appointed me as an envoy to Eastern Congo and the Great Lakes region, one of the things he did was to visit and call the presidents of the Great Lakes region. No minister, no advisor, no assistant. And I was there. So he wanted the president to talk among themselves. And at a stage he called me. And I said, on the 5th of October 1960, I was part of Nigerian contingent, called us Advanced Party, that went to Leopoldville. And I said some of the problems of Congo since then are still the problem of Congo today. This was in 2010. And President Kagame who was not on talking terms with Kabila, said, wait there, all of you have heard that. The problems of Congo in 1960, when President Obasanjo went there as a young officer, are still the problem of Congo today. In 1960, I was only 2 years old, and people said I am the cause of the problem of Congo. How can I be the cause of the problem of Congo? And President Kabila said, please stop where you are, President Kagame. In 1960, you were born. You were 2 years old. You were on the surface of the earth. But I was not born. So if anybody says I am the cause of the problem of Congo, when the problem was there even before I was born, and everybody laughed. But the problem of Congo is majorly internal. And unless Congo solves its internal problem, the eyes of neighbors, the eyes of people in Africa, the eyes of international community will be there. DRC is the only country in Africa that has 2 time zones. The time in Kinshasa is different from the time in Goma. DRC is the only country in Africa that is bordered by 9 other countries and the sea. DRC in land mass is 2.5 the area of Nigeria, and yet it's about 1/3 of the population of Nigeria. You can see, and yet the DRC is being run virtually like a unitary form of government. No real federalism. And DRC is too large in landmass to be run as a unitary form of government.
Okay, the implications of the deal in Washington and the larger implications of all this for Africa
I'm coming.
Right.
Okay. So when anytime President Trump talk about the Rwanda DRC, he never missed opportunity to talk about strategic minerals. And America's interest is mainly strategic minerals. When America was heavily involved, Qatar was heavily involved, France was heavily involved, United Arab Emirates heavily involved. I went to the 2 leaders. I said, look, at this stage, do you really think we have a role to play? Both of them separately said, please, you have to stay put because you have a role to play. These outsiders will do their bit, but the real job will be done by ourselves. So, for the Chinese, strategic mineral is very important. The number of Chinese in the forest in DRC is, nobody can say how many there are. and their government must know about their presence. America is saying, yes, we were interested in strategic minerals. Other countries may also be interested. It will be up to the government of DRC to know that the world is interested in what it has and how will it manage it. And I believe that can be done. Some neighbors of DRC, they don't have gold. They don't mine gold in their country. They have gold refineries. Where do the gold come from? Or where does the gold come from? Now, these are the problems of DRC. And DRC has no military organization that can defend its territorial integrity and protect its people. All the leaders before the present leader, and I've said this to the present leader, have not built a military organization for the country. They have built presidential guard to protect themselves. Now, if you look at the problem of the country in the stark reality, the problem of the country can only be solved by the leaders of the country if they are realistic and they know their onion. And for them not to be realistic will be a disaster, not only for them, not only for DRC, but for the whole region and indeed for the whole of Africa.
Thank you, sir. So now I yield the floor to Professor Moghalu.
Kingsley, nice to see you again. I'm not hearing you. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah. Can you hear me now, sir?
I hear you now loud and clear.
Very good. Good to see you again, sir. My first comment or question to you, sir, is this. You are 88. You have had a very, very long career in power and influence. And at almost 90, you remain a very active statesman with a lot of influence. I'd like to ask you, sir, looking back on your career, do you have any regrets? Are there things that you did that looking back now you would consider to be mistakes? Are there things that looking back you would wish you had done but didn't?
Well, Kingsley, thank you very much. Many years ago, I had a doctor, and when he turned 65, I invited him to take him out for dinner. It was in London. And while we were waiting for him and waiting for his wife and his daughter, we were in his car in front of the restaurant that we will have our dinner. And I asked him, I said, Howard, that's his first name. I said, in your 65 years, do you have any regret? Just like you're asking me now. And my doctor friend thought for almost a minute, and he said, Olu, that's how he called me. You know, I've never addressed my mind to this. Now that you have asked the question, I believe you regret what you should have done, which you didn't do, and which you will not have opportunity to do again. So if you will define regret with the benefit of hindsight in the way that my doctor defined it, I had no regret. I have no regret. Are there things that I should have done with the benefit of hindsight that I did not do? And I can only think of one thing when I look at it, I look back. You know, at the ECOWAS level, we have done everything, free movement, ECOWAS bank, and we have even gone to design the unit of currency for ECOWAS. We call it ECO. And then we left it to the experts who worked out what they call convergency. And I think the convergency were either 4 or 5. And when Nigeria meets 3, Ghana will meet 2. When Ghana meets 3, Nigeria will meet 2. And we didn't do anything about it because the experts hung on to this what do I call it?
Convergency criteria.
Convergency. Thank you. Convergency. And, you know, at a stage, we had over $45 billion in reserve, over $25 billion in what we call excess crude. We had over $70 billion. And we had about 5 countries that we call common destiny, or what we call them. And that was Nigeria, Niger, Republic of Benin, Togo, and Ghana. At that time, I should have brought those 5 together. We should have gone into ECOWAS currency, ECO. We have enough money to manage it and get those 5 or 6 countries together. When I look back and I see what has now happened to ECOWAS, unfortunately, I feel if I had done that time, then ECOWAS could have survived. Now it's in tatters.
Thank you very much. So that's very insightful. We take your point that ECOWAS is in tatters. Do you think there's any hope for ECOWAS with the 3 breakaway states now forming the alliance of Sahel states, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso?
Well, I'm an optimist, but I will tell you what I did, and you can come to the conclusion that you may want to come to. When President John Mahama was inaugurated less than a year ago, I was there. He invited Mali, and Mali sent its prime minister. He invited Burkina Faso, and Traoré himself went there. He invited Niger Republic. The Prime Minister of Niger Republic was there. At the close of the inauguration ceremony, I went to see President John Mahama. I said, look, you may be an entry point. Now that this has happened, please, under the guise of you visiting them to thank them for attending or honoring your invitation, visit them and let us know what chances do we have and how should we move. And he did. And I went back to him to have back what has happened. One, the three of them don't want to hear anything about ECOWAS. He told me that. Two, there are three leaders in West Africa they don't want to hear about. The leader of Nigeria, the leader of Benin, and the leader of Senegal. I then said, how did you put the case of areas that we have commonality? They want peace, whether they are in alliance of the Sahel or ECOWAS. Those of us who are in ECOWAS want peace. They want security, we want security. They want stability, we want stability. They want prosperity, we want prosperity. And he said he put this across to them. And they say, not yet. But then we have porous border. Two, our people go across the border and they are not less than 1/3 of the population of Niger Republic have blood relationship with people of Nigeria. And when not too long ago I was talking to the president of Algeria, he said at least 30% of the people of Mali are the same as the people of Algeria. Now, in this type of situation, should we lose hope? I don't lose hope, but maybe we should not be too much in a hurry. Maybe also we have to put our house in order. For instance, we in Nigeria, we blocked the road, we closed the border, we cut off electricity. The electricity we cut off, we really have no right to cut it off. Because the condition when we were building the Kanji Dam is to appeal to Niger Republic not to dam the Niger so that we will get enough water for the Kanji. Since then we have even built another dam. So we are obliged to give them electricity, even if we don't have. We threaten to attack them. Do we have the right? They have a coup. Nigeria has had coup several times. Nobody threatened to attack us. What we normally do is we send people out, say this is the reason for having a coup. I remember when I left public office in 1979 and Paul Biya took over from Ahijo, and there was a little bit of hiccup. President Shagari called me and said, please go to Cameroon. Cameroon was not part of ECOWAS, but it's a border. And see what you can do. And I went to Bolivia, and I said, look, your predecessor, you cannot keep people from there out of your government. You have to get them to be part of your government, which he did. And I believe that the coup of Niger, if somebody like President Buhari, who was alive then, had been sent in, go and find out what is the problem of these boys. Without any threat, we probably would have handled it better. So, to talk of hope, I believe there will be hope. As time passes, they will come up to see whatever will happen. Maybe the persons or the individual on both sides will be changing time, and there will be new opportunity to stretch hand of fellowship, hand of love, hand of brotherhood, hand of sisterhood. But I'm not losing hope. Maybe it's too early to try and force things.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Kukah,
Your Excellency.
yes, please.
Yes, okay. So now, perhaps, thank you, Kingsley. Mr. President, sir, just to go back to a point, I mean, there are 5 of you who are former heads of state and presidents in Nigeria. Ordinarily, this should be a great asset to us. One, and I just asked maybe 2 questions in one. The first is to what extent are you all, I'm talking you, General Gawon, General Babangida, General Abdul Salam, President Jonathan, to what extent are you spreading your energy across Nigeria to deal with the practical problems that our country now faces? And then secondly, what prospects really are there for democracy, in Africa, given the kind of culture of coups that is now beginning to emerge?
Thank you very much, Bishop Kukah. We have something they call Council of State. All past presidents are member of the Council of State. And it is up to the incumbent president to call a meeting of Council of State. And nothing stops him from calling anybody in Nigeria or outside Nigeria for advice. Nothing. Or he may even choose to call the presidents together. But if we, as former presidents, start meeting, the incumbent president will be afraid. Hey, what are they meeting for? How? What is going on?
You are too old to stage a coup now.
Well, I wish they understand it that way. I will tell you, the military in Nigeria and Ghana and Sierra Leone and Gambia used to have common training college in Teshi. I was there and Nigeria used to send people there until our independence. At one time, I suggested to our colleagues, I said, look, those of us old that we call it ROS, Regular Officer Special Training School, ROS. But we should gather together, even for us to meet, and when it was mentioned to the then president of Ghana, he said, you old military in Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Gambia. Not that way. No. Think of other things, not that. Now, I learned my lesson from that. But it's probably for social that we see. But and you say, should we go around the country? There's no time I go to anywhere that I don't talk to the governor about what is going on in their state and all that. I do that. If I see any of our colleagues and there's need to talk about anything, I do. Even when I believe there's need to talk about something, for instance, I was in the Unity Christmas Carol of the governor of Plateau recently, and
Bishop Kukah.
Yes, I'm here. I don't have.
Why waiting for a system to reboot? Can we discuss issues around security?
I was going to come to that.
Back? Is he back? What solutions will you talk about in dealing with this current security crisis?
Is that to me or to?
Yes, to both of you. Why waiting for the presidency?
Okay. Well, I personally, I think that we are at the cusp of maybe turning the corner. Two quick things back to back. The first is the pretty robust reaction of the United States of America. And then, of course, following very closely to that is the reaction of the federal government of Nigeria. The president's broadcast last week, the change of guards would seem to suggest that maybe the Nigerian government is beginning to feel the heat about the urgency of doing something, and doing something very urgent. So my first reaction is that I'm hopeful that using all the channels that are available, that the federal government of Nigeria with the government of the United States of America can work out a mechanism for intervention that also takes cognizance of the danger of what those kind of things could trigger. And I think that I imagine that America is not likely to think about having boots on the ground in Nigeria. And I'm not even sure that is an option. But I think that from the point of view of technical support, there really needs to be that component. And then, of course, along with that is the need for the federal government of Nigeria to very quickly and decisively identify, root out what clearly seems to be the unwanted presence of men and women, perhaps in the security agencies, who seem to have been consistent in undermining fight against, in undermining this fight. Because you speak to ordinary soldiers and people will tell you, we have the capacity, we have the means to bring this whole thing to an end. And we're hearing all kinds of conspiracy theories. So for me, I'm hopeful that the president will follow through with his, with the kind of tough speaking that he has done, and very decisively identify the blacklegs that exist, in and out of uniform, and the people who are funding this whole thing. Because they have access to information. They can find the information. And I think it's now time, the situation demands that we name, not just shame, but also name, indict, and hopefully, make examples of those who are responsible for funding this ugly situation that threatens to really, collapse our nation.
Professor Moghalu, will you accept this as a democracy? What Nigeria is running, will you say it's a democracy?
No.
Allowing the president to take a small rest.
Do you want me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're back.
Now, my expert here said the internet went off, but it came back.
You should relocate to Sokoto. We have very good internet in Sokoto.
Okay, we will consider that. I just heard you saying that Bishop Kukah, what the president should do and what the president may do and all that.
Regarding insecurity issues.
Regarding insecurity. Look, there are 4 important items. And I hope that those who are in charge, both military and executive and legislative, know what they are doing. First, there is training. There is different type of training. What the military is trained for is conventional war. Static enemy. You plan, you go there, and you deal with it. Now, the people you are dealing with are either fleeting targets or they are living among the people. You need a different type of training to deal with that. I know among countries that have done that fairly successfully is Colombia. Should we invite them, a team, to come and train our people? There's no shame in that. It's a specialized type of training. Or should we send our people there or any other country that we can? So there's training, number one. There is excuse me. Yeah. Training. Then there is equipment. The equipment to fight, including arms and ammunition, to fight that type of warfare is different from the equipment that you need for what I call conventional warfare. The other one is intelligence. You need absolute intelligence. Do we get it? Can others trust us to give us the intelligence that they have? And the fourth one is technology. Now these 4 have to come together, and then you have to do the other things internally. Like you rightly said, Bishop Kukah, are there white leg? Are there people who will reveal what is happening? And it's understandable if those who are there are even paying those who are in the armed forces or in the police or in the security services to give them information. I won't rule that out, because when I was handling the issue of militant in the Niger Delta, when we locate where people are, as we are sending helicopter, those people are receiving information that our helicopters are coming and where they are coming, until we are able to deal with such people within the forces. And then you ask the military to be the one buying equipment. It's not done. So the whole thing is an industry. It is an industry. And anybody who will tell you, one of the chief of our chiefs of staff, our chiefs of defense, the other day launched a book, and I asked, the civil war lasted 30 months, although we thought it will last only 6 months. But this fight against the insurgency, the criminal, has lasted almost 15 years. I went to Maiduguri, and you say, well, go, what do we do? I went to Maiduguri in 2011, sorry. What did I want to find out? What is Boko Haram? Are there some people like that? Do they have leaders? Who are their leaders? Do they have grievances? What are their grievances? And I went, before going, I went to the president. I said, I'm doing this. And he said, look, I will give you plane. I said, no. Once I take government plane, I become government agent. I become suspect. Let me go. And I went. I found that they were really a group, and their leader, Muhammad Yusuf, was regarded as a decent man, who even other clergy sent out. And are they ready to talk to government? Initially they said no. And then when they said okay, they would, they said not in Africa. I said no, this is an African problem. It must be resolved in Africa. Eventually they agreed. They even chose 2 countries. I reported to government. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And I even also, the man who was the intermediary is there now in Maiduguri, Zana. When they asked me and said, look, how long do they have to wait? I said, can you cease fire for 21 days while government is working out how to reach out to you? I went out after that. Government never reached out to them. Now, I don't know what you will say about that, but that is the sort of thing. And I believe that whoever you are dealing with, even talk. When I was dealing with the militant in the Delta, I asked Dr. Igali, who was my special advisor, go and bring them. Now, they were afraid. I said, look, whatever crime they have committed, for the purpose of the meeting, come. And they came, about 40 of them. I received them in my cabinet council meeting chamber. And I look at one. I said, look, you handsome, nice-looking boy, why are you in this? And he said, Mr. President, you know, when you were military head of state, you established UPE, if not for UPE, I would not have gone to school. Because I did well in primary school, I went to secondary school. From secondary school, I went to university. And I said to myself, no, I come from an oil-producing area, I will study chemical engineering. Mr. President, 4 years I've graduated. I had a 2-1 in chemical engineering. 4 years. I have done my NYC, NYCS, yes, National Youth Service Corps. Yes. I have no job. What do you expect me to do? And I shook my head. I said, I understand. And that was what led me to meeting all stakeholders quarterly. But then, rather than meeting them quarterly, they put money. And that's part of our problem. You think money is the solution to. You have a problem, put money there. If the money you have put is not enough, put more. That doesn't solve any problem. It does not solve any problem. Kingsley.
Yes, sir.
You talk about my age. I think I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
You know, I've come to realize that there are 3 things, among others, the 3 that I found very important, that makes you sober, wise, and worldly learned. And what are they? Adversity. 2, age. 3, prison experience. And I am lucky to have been endowed with the 3 by God.
I can put Kingsley in prison if you suggest it.
Pardon?
I
said I can put Kingsley in prison if you suggest it.
Well,
No,
Kingsley will.
it will be an American prison, so it won't be it won't be your life. It will be an American prison, too comfortable.
Yeah. Now, look, if I may, I think the rest of you may not agree with this, but Bishop Kukah, who is a man of God, walking the vineyard of God. If you look at the Bible, all those leaders that God used, they went through some of this. Look at Moses. You can't have it better in terms of adversity than your own mother putting you in a basket in the river bank, and then you are brought up in the palace. But that's too comfortable. You now have to go to the desert and face adversity before you are ready to do the work that God has sent you to do. He was wise. He was sober. He even argued with God, and God said no. Look at Joseph. He had to go to prison as part of preparation for running the affairs as Prime Minister of Egypt for Pharaoh. Even look at David. And this you will find, as I said, you become sober. You become wise. You become worldly learned through adversity in one form or the other, through age, experience, and things that you have gone through, and through prison experience. Some may not have prison experience, but something akin or close to it. I thought I should, since you talk about age and things,
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
Okay, so Toyin, would you like to consider? I mean, we're barely 30 minutes now. Would we cede the ground to the audience so the people can ask questions or make
Well, I
comments?
noticed that the president is struggling, is a little bit tired. So,
Tony, can I get in just one more question?
now, are you talking of talking of tiredness with me?
are you?
Forget about tiredness.
Then
President
let's
Obasanjo
continue.
we can
Tony,
go for another hour. We'll stop at 7. But
No, although I went to Ife, I came back this morning after taking Sunday school in my church. But I am as clear-headed and as wide awake as you.
So,
can I give in one more question?
Please, he said he's not tired. We keep going.
Okay.
no, but we'll stop
Baba,
at 7.
Okay, Baba, thank you very much for your comments and your questions. I want to ask you a very sensitive question.
If it's sensitive, I will decide whether I should answer it or not.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now, the reason why I say it's a sensitive question is because in Nigeria, we tend to avoid the difficult conversations about nation building. But in other countries, they come face to face and grapple with these things in more mature countries. So in Nigeria, we find that this issue of the Constitution is something we have not come back to as a foundation for nationhood. Do you believe that Nigeria needs a new constitution? And do you believe that the principle contained in the 1999 Constitution, I think it was chapter 10, that Nigeria is a secular state and shall not have any state religion, is currently being fully respected?
Well, Kingsley, it's like asking a man whose wife is doing all form of food and say, do you believe that the food that your wife cooked for you yesterday is better than the one he cooked for you today? My own belief on constitution is that no constitution is perfect. But the constitution we have, with its imperfection, are the people who are running our constitution, are they running it the way they should run it? Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. You talk about secular.
Yes,
The same constitution that talk of secular state and that the state will not have a religion also allow for Sharia court of appeal. Sharia court or Sharia is surely religious in content and in practice. And when somebody tried to do Sharia, not the way it should be done, and what happened? I knew how the Sharia came about. the governor then of Zamfara. He won the election, and his brother, who was in PDP, which was my own party, his own candidate did not win, and the brother started collecting materials that will undermine him, the governor, and that may also lead to his impeachment. And so he decided to fight back and said he will make himself untouchable. That's all he went for Sharia for, just to make himself untouchable. And he did. He achieved that purpose. But not because he wants to practice Sharia the way Sharia should be practiced. He wants to save himself. What is that? Let's take the constitution that you are talking about. That constitution does not allow legislators to fix their salary or their emolument. It does not. But what do we get? They fix their salary. And if you want to know what had happened, look at the legislature's budget in 2000 to 2007 and look at it today. You will be amazed. You will be surprised. I will not say our constitution is perfect. There are part of it that if I have the opportunity tomorrow and I have the right, that some that I will immediately change part of our constitution. But I will not blame the constitution as much as I will blame the operators of the constitution.
And can I?
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Kingsley. Kingsley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, just what I would like to add in this matter. First of all, what the Constitution actually says about Islamic law is Islamic personal law. There has been subtle attempts to delete the word personal. So the issues relating to this process is, and nobody has any problem with it.
Yeah.
This is Sharia law as applicable to personal matters. The question is how individuals, and since these developments after 1999 and this climate of hysteria, that then politicians in northern Nigeria responded to by going ahead to now institutionalize Sharia law across most of the northern states. The question is, President Tinubu went to court to address what he considered to be the injustices, in the way funds allocated to local governments, were manipulated, and he got a judgment. Many people and lawyers have been of the point that perhaps the real challenge is our inability to test the limits and the claims of the Constitution. And I have been on record to say this is one of those things, just like the president went to court over the issue of federal allocations to local government. He should do the same to test whether the claims about the extension of the scope of Sharia law is really constitutional. And finally, I think we also need to address the fact, I think the president is right in saying no constitution is perfect. I think what is largely lacking in the Nigerian situation is our inability to test the claims of the law. And this is where judicial advocacy, civil society groups, and so on and so forth can become a bit more active. That is the claims that the constitution makes vis-a-vis the realities that are on the ground. So I think we've been making quite a lot of talk about this, but haven't done much to go to court to seek interpretations of certain provisions of the Constitution.
Well, Bishop Kukah, now, when you read what Justice Dati Joe said about the court and what Agbokoba said about the court, I will be a little bit sanguine about what I take to court, knowing that what I may get out of it may not be justice.
Let me just chime in a little bit. Thank you, Baba, for this clarification, and thank you, Bishop, for your interjection. Many Nigerians feel that Nigeria is not yet a nation. It's a country. And one of the reasons it has not moved from country to nation is the imperfections of the 1999 Constitution, and that people should come together to agree on what Nigeria is, what it means, and a constitution that the people themselves have agreed. That is the root cause of many of the problems we're having, including insecurity. And that's the reason I posed the question about a path forward.
Well, Kingsley.
Yes, sir.
I was around, with all due respect, at independence. Nigeria was about the only country that came to independence as three countries in one. And Nigeria was about the only country at that time that did not have one single leader. We had three leaders in three regions, and that still part of our problem till today. Let us tell ourselves some home truth. When Tafawa Balewa went to the United Nations in October 1960 and addressed the world for admission of Nigeria into the United Nations, Ambassador Ogunsulore, who was in the office of the Prime Minister, said to me that what the international community was talking about Nigeria was giant in the sun, not even giant in Africa, giant in the sun. Today, we are not even giant in Africa. What has gone wrong? What have we done wrong? And that is the reason why I wrote a book that I call Nigeria, Past and Future. Let us look at ourselves. Thank you very much, Tony. Let us look at ourselves. There's no one that is perfect. Let me take the issue of just one issue, secession. What Chief Falola did, whether it was treason or secession, what is, it's there on record. The North wanted to break up Araba. What is Araba? Bishop Kukah? And not only did they shout Araba, they went, and Amejoda, my good friend, may his soul rest in peace, told me this story. They went to Ahigyo and said they want to get out of Nigeria. And Ahigyo said, where is your sea? They said they would join him, and he said, I will not accept you. That what stopped the North from Arabine. The East planned secession, executed secession, and failed. So we have all, in one form or the other, tried the same thing. And we should tell ourselves, accept this, that this is what we have done. And if that is what we have done, what is making us to want to Araba? I believe it's one thing and one thing. We do not give one another the respect, the recognition that we deserve. I've listened to people, the way they talk about other people in Nigeria, as if they are not, if they are slaves in Nigeria. I don't believe that anybody in Nigeria have right that is more than the right that I have. And I don't believe that anybody in Nigeria has right less than the right that I have. And if we would take that and handle it well, you know what happens, particularly with the elite like Kingsley, when they want things and they don't get it, they either use blame religion, blame region, blame tribe. They never see anything wrong with themselves. Never.
But I've never used any of those things myself.
No. I say elite like you. I don't say you. Come on.
Okay, sir.
You don't understand English. Elite like you.
Yes.
And that is what we have. So I just believe that, yes, you talk of nation building. Nation building is the responsibility of each and every one of us. How much of it can I claim to have done? To have done? How much of it can you claim you have done or you are doing? I just talked to you now. I mentioned what I did on Boko Haram. I want to find it, what is it? How is it? Not too long ago, when I saw that the issue of handling of situation in River State will grossly undermine democracy. And I will talk about democracy before I end. On my own, I called the president. Normally I wouldn't have to call him, but I saw the danger. And I said, look, this is the danger that I saw. When one man wants to claim money that is not entitled to, and it was under my watch, I volunteered to go to the International Court of Justice volunteered because I believe that Nigeria was being cheated by what he was trying to do. And you know, I went, and nobody asked me to go. I went on my own. So the issue of nation building is better talked about and less acted on. We all have to act on it. I don't believe you said Nigeria is not a nation, it's a geographical contraption. Which country is not a geographical contraption?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely.
Now tell me, which country is not? Now we thought we all want to go to America. And people told me, Americans, historians, said, look, when you talk of corruption, we used to have in America a judge going to court with two judgment, one on the right and one on the left, and is the higher bidder, and each of the judgment is perfect. They got over it. They are now treading the path of rectitude and path of incorruptibility to some extent, because there's no country where there's no element of corruption. But there are many countries where corruption is not accepted as a way of life. In our own case, it is accepted as a way of life, and that is again our problem. Let me come to democracy. Talk of democracy. What democracy are we talking about? The Western liberal democracy, which we inherited because they had nothing else to give to us, and that's what they had. All right. Today, I was being told not long ago, I think about a week ago, that they carry out survey in many Western countries, and 64% said they are not satisfied with their democracy. 64%. In Britain, Sunak became prime minister without being voted for. He was not the head of the party. It was not anything. When the voting took place that decided the number of parliamentarians, and then he was voted for by the party. Is that government of the people, by the people, for the people, or government of a few, by a few, for the whole? And that is, with all due respect, I was only 4 days ago in Washington at the United States Peace Institute for Peace, where President Trump was signing as the one who brought it about, the agreement between Kagame and Tshisekedi, Kagame of Rwanda and Tshisekedi of DRC. We have talked about that here today. The thing is, and that is where the point made by Bishop Kukah comes in. The thing is, when President Trump does something that people feel he should be taken to court, they go to court. And if they should go higher, they go from lower court to higher court and to Supreme Court. And when it gets to Supreme Court, they will even analyze to you who is who. Not on the basis of the higher bidder, but what is their ideology. We have in this book that Tony showed to us, which I call Nigeria, yes, I look back and I didn't spare any group, even my own constituency, even Bishop Kukah's constituency. We all must take our fair share of the blame. But I believe, yes, nation building, there's no end to it. There's no end to nation building. And every aspect. I was in Sokoto, where Bishop Kukah was opening the computer center. For me, a little effort of nation building in that part of the country for people, no matter what religion you are, coming to a center. And I praise its effort. The Sultan was there. Nation building. Nation building. Our nation building, we have not got a woman elected genuinely as a governor of a state. Nation building. Shouldn't we be ashamed of ourselves? Even for that. What is wrong with our women? Are they only to be met at the other, what somebody call other room, or what does he call it? These are some of the things that we should take up. Let me end on this note. There are 24 million children in Nigeria out of 244 in the world that should be in school that are out of school. That's 10% of the world population of children that should be in school that are not in school. Does that give us any sleepless night? Do you have to worry about where you will get Boko Haram of 10, 12, 15 years from now? Shouldn't that really be something that will agitate our mind and agitate us? Do we think that we can have that and go scot-free? I would be afraid for my children and my children's children, because those children that do not go to school, first, they cannot develop their innate capacity to be able to manage their personal affairs, their family affairs, as they should. Second, they will believe that whatever the rest of us in this country can eke out for ourselves, they will eke out for themselves from what we eke out for ourselves. And And we should know that. Like the young man who said to me, look, I went to primary school, I went to secondary school, I went to university, and 3 years after I have gone through National Youth Service Corps, I have no job. And then what do you expect me to do? So he went into breaking pipeline. If you say it's in the pipe, it's in the pipeline, let's see what is in the pipeline. I think that issue of nation building is something that is should. That I don't accept this idea of we are geographical contraption and all that. Which country is not? Which country is not?
So some of your critics say occasionally you get angry. Occasionally you get angry.
I get angry when I see things that should make me angry, and my own Bible teaches me be angry, but don't let your anger go to the night with you. If you cannot be angry, you cannot do good. You must be angry with what is evil.
So
Tony, if you are not angry, then you will take everything and live with it. Yeah. The bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Of course, I am angry when I should be angry, but my anger doesn't go. I never show. I am angry with love. Let me put it that way.
So in that anger, why will you accept to go to somebody's birthday and abuse him?
Where?
Ayoshi's birthday.
I didn't abuse him.
So what happened?
No, these are personal matters. Let's not.
No. Don't come on. Don't. Now that will make me angry with you.
Okay. Sorry about it.
Oh, come off it. A man came to me.
Mr. President, please, let's come back to the issue as we try.
Well, let's come to issue. I told you are becoming frivolous now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, sir. I think just in addition to what you were saying about children being out of school, I think the other very serious challenge that is a moral indictment on us is that, well, as long as the state is unable to make it easy for children to be in school, right now as we are speaking, there are children who are not in school. They are in the hand, they are in captivity, and as children as young as 4 years old. So what incentive would you have for any child to want to go to school if the school, and by extension the state service is not safe? So I think these are some of the very serious underlying factors that we need to pay attention to, because many of us who went to school will recall that it was despite those of us who had to trek, but you knew what it was to be in school, the amount of joy, the amount of friendship, and so. But right now, the schools, by definition, and what they look like, right up to even the highest level, don't necessarily create the necessary incentive, to enable people to feel safe about going to school, or parents sending their children to school. This is an enormous problem. So it's not so much even about those graduating and not finding jobs. It's that even to go to the school is, it's becoming such a hazardous exercise.
Well, that brings us to the issue of security, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That brings us to the issue of security. And I didn't catch some of the things you said about it because I was offline. But I have said a little bit about security. When I talk about four things: intelligence, training, equipment, and technology, I know what I'm talking about. And of course, then when you get all this right, you must also get the attitude right, that you really genuinely want to fight security. I have also always maintained that in fighting security, there will be an element of carrot and stick. And we have mentioned it. Now, if we do not give our children education, then they are liable to become a problem in future. But in trying to give our children education, security become an issue. So if we don't deal with the issue of security, we are compounding the problem, because those children that do not go to school when they should go to school will become a liability and a greater problem of security for us in their teens and their adult years.
Let me plead to two distinguished panelists to let us give members of the audience the opportunity.
Sure.
So, members of the audience, please do not make long comments. Restrict yourself to specific questions. Please. Okay. You have 13 people. Let me apologize ahead of time. If you are not able to take the 13 people, please forgive me. Monte Macmochi, if I do not pronounce your name very well, forgive me. Monte Macmochi. Monte
McMurchie. Greetings from Toronto, Canada.
Can we see you, please? Let's see you. Okay, go ahead.
Greetings from Toronto, Canada. First of all, my compliments to all the panelists. A brief background. Former Civil Affairs Director, Liberia, USA. Former advisor with UNMIL on electoral and civil affairs. Extensive experience in various post-conflict countries, and now 10 years in Democratic Republic of Congo, where I'm involved in teaching les droits administratifs publics avec l'éthique. And my issue concern, and to Mr. President, I respect what you're saying, and to Professor Kingsley, your insights and your knowledge, and you would have made an excellent president. And that is life. But
Thank you, sir.
The cardinal being personal security is the sine qua non of the state, not the nation, and there's a qualitative difference between nation and state. Nigeria, as with many other African states, is a Western contrive, and we in the West are responsible for all the flaws that are besetting Africa. The intellectual horsepower of African peoples is not in question. Sadly, they have been addressed by crass commercialization of politicians. Rarely have I seen a politician in Africa who's impoverished. It's migrating now to the United States. And my simple question posing, why can you not strive long-term and speak truth to power and say we are flawed, that you are elected in service to the people and to the church? The one author that I have respect for, Chinua Achebe, whom I've had the privilege of meeting years ago when he was in the States, he nailed it in Things Fall Apart, how the Western, primarily the missionaries, the do-gooders, they took away all the best what was in Upper Nigeria in terms of tribal history, respect for the elders, tradition, that you could govern yourselves most excellent. We in the West have mucked things up. How can you speak now to ameliorate, to bring up, let's say, Nigeria, which is a combustive issue, because Nigeria is the most populous nation, wealthy beyond dreams, slowly running out of billions which have been squandered, and what is going to happen when the billions are no longer able? And then in the northeastern part with the Muslim, we need to have a secular state. So my question to all three of you is how can you inspire the people to say, these are my brothers and sisters, regardless of where we are, whether it's in Biafra, whether we are Ibu, whether we're up north or east or south. And to all of you, I say thank you and I wish you Godspeed.
Well, when you say to three of them, it must be to Tony, Bishop Kukah, and Kingsley. Well, you try to answer his question.
Thank you. But my suggestion is that you can write down the questions. We can't do it one-on-one. Professor Bill Indy, President of West African Writers, Professor Bill Indy.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Where are you calling from?
Yes, I am calling from Tuskegee, Alabama, the seat of the Pan-African movement, or the birthplace of Pan-Africanism, so to say. And I would like to thank the panelists and Your Excellency. I want to applaud all what you've been doing. I can still remember as a young teenager in 1976, when you took over from Murtala Mohammed, you made us dream. And that dream, I think you've not stopped making many people dream. And it culminates with what I, as a writer and president of the Pan-African Writers Association, I think the presidential library concept, which is a concept that allows for the perpetuation of national, institutional, and cultural memory. That is a laudable thing. I don't know, words will not be enough. But my plea, I have a plea for Your Excellency, because one of the greatest sons of Nigeria, a celebrated writer, was killed. And I think, as a writer, I'm advocating for a posthumous pardon for this writer. He did a lot for the writing community and the preservation of cultural and national memory, legating land for the Nigerian Writers Association. I know many people might be wondering who I'm referring to. This is Mama Jia Vatsa. I think in the realm of writing, he did a lot, and for writers, he did a lot. He is a voice, even dead. I think we have the mandate as the living. I'm not going to ask Your Excellency, why didn't you do it when you were president? But I'm asking Your Excellency, could you support my voice? I'm voicing it publicly for the first time, that somebody like Vatsa be pardoned posthumously.
Thank you. Thank you. John,
well, please let me answer that.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
You see, the problem we have here is, well, you zeroed in on Mama Vatsa, who was a very wonderful colleague of mine. In fact, he was in charge of the brigade that guarded the my residence, in Dodon Barracks, and a fantastic man. But then, if you are going to talk of Mama Vatsa, what of the man from Ogoni? Bishop Kukah, what is his name?
Sarowiwa, is it?
Sarowiwa.
Sarowiwa.
Yeah, you cannot.
Yeah, but I think the last presidential pardon actually.
They pardoned him.
Yeah. They pardoned him. I think Vatsa too. Yes.
Okay. Well, if he's pardoned, then there's no reason why, as you rightly said, appeal should not be made for Mama Vasa to be pardoned. Yeah. I will agree with you. If Saro-Wiwa has been pardoned, who deserves to be pardoned? I believe that Mama
Vasa was pardoned, sir.
Oh, was he? He was pardoned already.
Yes, I think so.
I wouldn't know. Thank you very much. But you hear that pardon might have Mama Vasa might have been pardoned already, and but the point you made is very well.
Yes, he was pardoned. He was pardoned.
Okay, all right.
Ime Ekpo.
Okay.
Ime Ekpo, please. Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ime Ekpo, and I am calling from New York. I am currently a student of African Studies at Columbia University and also a cultural journalist, films, Hollywood, and entertainment. I asked this question as a daughter of Akwa Ibom State, specifically Your Excellency.
I'm not hearing you. If anybody hears her, you better tell me if the question is directed to me. But go ahead.
Yes, Your Excellency. Throughout your military and civilian leadership, many minority communities, particularly in the Middle Belt, the Niger Delta, and the Southeast, have argued that successful Nigerian governments fail to meaningfully address their political marginalization, resource exploitation, and security vulnerability. So, looking back on your time in office, do you believe your administration fulfilled its and empower minority groups?
Thank you, sir. Our question is, to what extent has been the treatment of minorities in Nigeria? Kingsley Obaji.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all. And Your Excellency, former President, thank you for this opportunity. And of course, my dear friend, Kingsley Moghalu and Bishop Kukah for putting this together. My question is, I will start with a statement. And that statement is that the people in the southeastern region have probably been losing about 20% of their entitlement in terms of business due to security in the region. The question I have is, what can we really do to improve security? The sit at home in the southeast has needed economic development.
Thank you.
We need some kind of restructuring. We need some kind of security back to the states to control the security and being able to protect the lives and property of the people.
Thank you.
So my question, yes. Okay, go ahead.
I thought you've made your comment and your question around insecurity.
Well, can we take one more, and that will be the last, please?
Okay. Well, let me apologize because we have 14 people who want to ask questions. Suppose they ask the questions and you don't answer them. Would that be all right?
No, because if they ask questions, I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. to get myself to church and get myself to Ife, and then came back to get into this. So it's now going to 7:30. Okay. I have not had any meal. I must go and eat.
Well, I can give you only communion from Bishop Kukah's church.
The Bishop Kukah will eat. I will drink more than he will give me to drink.
Professor Sugolo, let me give the professor the last question.
Yes. The great Sogolo.
Where are you?
Thank you very much. I hope you are hearing me.
Very well, sir.
Okay, yeah. I want to congratulate the panel for this very entertaining. It's entertaining intellectually. And the last time I really interacted with His Excellency was at Ibadan, when I was still at Ibadan. By the way, I'm Godwin Sogolo, Emeritus Professor of Philosophy, National Open University of Nigeria. I taught for 35 years before retiring from the University of Ibadan and came to the National Open University. In a sense, I belong to His Excellency's generation, because in a month's time, I will be 80. And people tell me that in fact I'm older than that. That might be true, but just that I don't really know when exactly I was born. That's something I share.
Prof, whatever you claim, you will still be my junior brother. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Professor Sogolo, let me see what you look like. It's been a long time.
That's how it looks like.
This is how it looks like. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Yes, my question is this: the university where I still serve as an emeritus was your own creation, the National Open University of Nigeria, and the population at a point went to 500,000, though it's gone down now for various reasons. So it's an institution which has a large reach for the Nigerian youth. And I believe that the world, we are almost gone. The youth today are the Nigeria we expect. I am as optimistic as you are. And I believe, sir, that your experience ought to be shared with this large youth. We are not having much of that. We have, for instance, an Obasanjo Center at the National Open University of Nigeria. And we hold meetings and so forth. We expect that someday you will come in there and speak to us and speak to the large
Has he been invited and he said no? I'm on the board of that center. Has he been invited and he said no?
Well, let me not answer that. But I'm saying that he has not.
No, Tony, I can deal with that. Now, okay, Professor Sogolo, thank you very much. You know that I'm a product of. Now, you know how much I did.
I know your PhD.
And you know I'm a product of Open University. And even right now, I have a candidate that I'm supervising who is here in Open University in Abeokuta. So that is still my involvement with Open University. Now, but it's like this one we are having now. Tony called me, I think when he read this book. He has shown the book 2 times. You can show it the 3rd time. when he read that book, he said he would want to have this type of thing we are having. Now, I'm never shy of, having conversation, discussion, dialogue, because that is the best way of learning. That's the best way of learning. If you call me and I have nothing, I will come. As I said, Bishop Kukah invited me to Sokoto. I was there, even though he didn't give me good food to eat. But That's another one.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I will invite you.
Okay. Now, but let me talk about security in the Southeast and that type of thing. You see, that's also where we get it wrong. We have issue of security nationally. So don't, when you take it Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, we have issue of security nationally. And let us appeal to our government to say, look, this is a national issue, and please help us and do the right thing. Or, like I said, if our government is incapable, let us ask the international community. We are part and parcel of global community, and there's nothing wrong in that. The global community have interest in our existence and peaceful existence. So for that, I would say we have beaten the issue of security enough, but it is a national issue, and no part of the country should be left out when you talk of security. Then there's again this issue of minority. Well, you take particularly the Cross River. I think that's the ladies.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, when I was in government, the amount of attention we paid to Cross River in two very, very specialized ways. I put everything that federal government had to support the Obudu development with the wire, what do you call it? The
cable cars.
The cable cars and things and all that, including building a presidential retreat place there. And one of the best minister I have, and I still say that till tomorrow, is from Cross River, Kano Agabi. Now, I don't know what else you want us to do. Then we have Tinapa. Tinapa there was nothing like it anywhere in Nigeria. And I doubt there will be very few places in Africa where you have it. They put it. I don't know what else you want. We have the white-faced monkey in Cross River. They are going into extinction. We went there and we revived them. I think they are only available in Cross River and in a part of Cameroon. But if you particularly want something that was not done for you as an individual, let me know if it's still possible for it to be done for you. But under my watch, there was no part of Nigeria that was left out. And I can say it anywhere you mention. There was something that was done. And what we do for the country generally, of course, we do for every part of the country, whether minor, minority, majority, none is left out. I think I've covered all the points that were put on the floor.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Let me now apologize to the others. That if anybody has something that he will want me to deal with, Toyin, let them send it to you.
Okay, I'll forward it to you.
I will deal with it.
Okay.
And then you can send my answer or my response or my reply to them. But you have to be kind to me and let me go and have something to eat.
It's okay. So let me thank our audience and apologize. As I said, the concentration of the audience is not on Zoom. It's on other live channels as we broadcast live in over 30 countries. And I did not tell His Excellency that we open a different line for government officials and sets of states. I will give you a list of those who joined so that you can thank them. I thank you, Professor Moghalu, for joining us, Bishop Kukah for joining us. Your Excellency, we are very grateful. We'll be interviewing next the former president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Hassan Sumano, in January. Thank you very much. What follows? Media houses have joined. I don't know the kind of reports they will generate, but from Tuesday, Vanguard joined, Guardian joined, Tribune joined. They will generate their reports. I will write my own series of reports based on this conversation. And 2 minutes after this is over, we will release the transcript to the world. In 2 minutes, I will send you the entire transcript. But we don't edit the transcript, including the little controversy I caused, which is to actually lead to some other conversation. Thank you very much. And thank you
very much. I will be listening to your next one with Hassan Sumano.
You are chairing his book launch on January 7 or something.
Yes, I am. And you are doing something with that as well. And so is Bishop Kukah, as far as I know. I wrote the foreword to the book.
I saw it. Thank you very much, sir.
So,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Enjoy our music. Those of you who are not